StudyIQ IAS, आपका सिलेक्शन हमारा मिशन.
Good evening everyone. So as we all know that today the final paper of UPSC mains exam, the optional paper, which is actually the deciding paper, and today we are going to discuss about the optional paper psychology, and all the optional paper has been finished now. So today we have come with the first impression of the examination. साइकोलॉजी पेपर का पहला इम्प्रेशन क्या रहेगा, हम थोड़ा सा ब्रीफ में डिस्कस करेंगे कि फ्रॉम विच एरिया दिस टाइम यूपीएससी हैज़ आस्क्ड मैक्सिमम क्वेश्चंस. आई होप आई एम ऑडिबल एंड विजिबल टू ऑल ऑफ यू. इफ देयर इज एनी प्रॉब्लम then please let me know in the comment section. So in today's session, in this first impression, we will try to analyze that from which area maximum questions were asked and what is the difference in the pattern of paper in UPSC psychology in 2025 if we compare this paper from the past year paper. So the major difference we can see, if this is the paper 1, okay, so we will analyze the paper 2 also. In paper 1, the questions which has applications related to paper 2, you can see more questions. Generally ये जो trend है आप देखोगे, it is an increasing trend. पेपर 1 में पेपर 2 से related questions आपको पूछने को मिल रहे हैं. ऐसा लास्ट ईयर भी हुआ था and the same trend you will find this year also. So this is the first change you can analyze in this paper, that you will find in questions, you will find questions in connectivity with the topics of paper 2 in paper 1 only. Definitely we apply the concept of paper 1 and paper 2, but यहाँ पर आप देखोगे थोड़ा सा रिवर्सल आपको देखने को मिलेगा. We will discuss some of the questions which you can see over here in this paper also. This is the first difference you can see over here. The second major difference you will find in today's paper is that the research part, research area and the method of psychology area, this part is also dominant this year. आपको देखेंगे काफ़ी सारे क्वेश्चंस हमको देखने को मिलेंगे from that particular area. ठीक है, तो ये क्वेश्चंस हमको रिसर्च मैटर से देखने को मिलेंगे सेकंड, एंड डेफिनेटली सम ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस आर डायरेक्टली आस्क्ड इनटू दिस पेपर. सो वी विल एनालाइज दीज 3 की पॉइंट्स. नाउ इफ यू जस्ट हैव अ लुक अपॉन दिस पेपर, तो आप देखेंगे दीज आर द क्वेश्चंस 10 मार्कर. These are somewhat directly question which you can answer. For example, they ask about why did behaviorists avoid the topic of thought and knowledge. जैसा कि हम जानते हैं कि जब स्कूल्स और साइकोलॉजी इमर्ज हो रहे थे तो बिहेवियरिस्ट ने क्या किया था, थॉट के बारे में बिल्कुल ही मना कर दिया था कि हम इस पर फोकस नहीं करेंगे. अकॉर्डिंग टू द स्कूल ऑफ बिहेवियरिज्म, दे फोकस मोर अपॉन द बिहेवियर. सो दिस इज यू कैन से अ डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन which you can mention if you read introduction chapter schools of psychology, then you can easily attempt this question. Okay, in the same way, highlight the major factor that influence psychological well-being of youth in Indian setting. Now you can see this topic in connectivity with the paper 2. For example, well-being is in paper 2 and they are asking about the youth in Indian setting, so they connect this particular topic with the topic of development of human behavior, paper 1. So in this way, such kind of connectivity you will find this year in paper 1 of psychology. In the same way, you can see some more questions. Do attribution process explain success and failure behavior in social context? This is again a direct question for the chapter of attitude. Critically evaluate the role of facial affect program. Now this is reframing of the question. So some of the questions in paper 1 you will find they have reframed the sentence. So we have seen a lot of questions in like in PYQ that questions related to basic emotions or Paul Ekman theory they have already asked. So they just reframed this time. Okay, the question is evaluate the role of facial affect program and display rules in expression of emotion by citing relevant example. This question we can say indirect question you can find. Students might have some problems in attempting this question as it is not clearly given in the PYQ if you see. Again, if we like move forward, IQ tests are too narrow in focus. Such type of questions already been asked. So you can say this is also a direct question. Evaluate the statement from the perspective of Sternberg-Gardner theory of intelligence. Okay. Now, if you see the sections, these are the 5 questions, compulsory questions. If you see the sections, the first section, in the first section, if you can see, the questions are related to personality. Second questions, again, humanistic. What does this term mean to you? And the third one is probability sampling appropriate in the conduct of psychological research. So if you choose this segment, then you have to attempt one question related to research method and 2 questions can be easily attempted if your research method is not that much strong area. Okay, so personality is in our genes, it's a direct question again, and you can see humanistic. From humanistic perspective, you need to mention the relevance. Okay, Moving forward, if we talk about the third section, again here you will see that this question again related to research method and other two questions. The first you can see in the third section, biological and cognitive learning influences in gender identity. Again they have linked the question with paper 2. So in paper 1 we talk about the concept of learning, different kind of learnings are there, and they have connected this type of learning to the topics of paper 2, gender identity, gender psychology. So again you will find the connection. So such type of questions you will find in paper 1 this time. Okay, again contribution of Binet and Wechsler in the measurement of intelligence. This is also a direct question. You will find such kind of questions in PYQ also. So you can say it's a kind of direct question. Again, if we move forward, the fourth, social cognitive theory and application to solve large scale societal problem. Again the same thing, connectivity with the paper 2. So societal problem, generally we talk about the societal problem in paper 2 and they are asking the connectivity of paper 1 and paper 2. Then how can we apply this particular theory? Such kind of questions has also been asked. For example, how can we use the concept of psychology in solving global climate crisis, in solving COVID-19? Okay, same way in solving societal problem, how can we use this concept? Next, these two questions you can see, meditation alter consciousness, and one question you can also see related to jet lag. Okay, here you can see, is jet lag a genuine phenomena? So these are two questions which they have been asked from the chapters of issues and contemporary psychology. Okay, again it's a direct question, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. It is also covered in our class and in our test series also. Okay, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis related to language and communication. We talk about the concept of Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. So this is also you can say a direct question they have asked. Okay, now we move out of fifth section. You can see over here also, this jet lag is related to contemporary psychology. Narrative approach, see again they have reframed the sentence. Narrative approach to personality hinges on answering the question, who am I? So different perspective we talk about in psychology, trait perspective, genetic perspective. तो उन्होंने क्या किया यहाँ पर, they again reframed the sentence over here. Same you can see amnesia patient wala question, they have already asked this question also. Now they have linked this question to emotional event. So here we have to mention the role of amygdala. Okay, different kind of memories we have to mention, we have to link with this perspective also. Psychological and cultural factors affect perception, again a direct question from sensation, attention and perception. And this one you can see again cause and effect from research method and method of psychology. So research method and method of psychology you will find in paper 1 is a dominant area. And the second dominant area you will find the chapter of personality. Okay, this is also a dominant area in this paper. Moving forward, if we talk about the sixth section, again the factor analysis, research method, method of psychology. But this question already they have been asked before also. So if you just practice PYQ, then you would be able to attempt this question very clearly. There will be no problem. Structure of language, explain its role in speech perception. This is a new question. Okay, such type of questions you will not find so much relevance in PYQ. Okay, so if you have studied the chapter of language in depth, structure of language, linguistic hierarchy you can mention, and role in speech perception and comprehension. This also we will discuss. The next question about the role of 3D and 2D images. Okay, so this is what enabled to see the world in 3D despite our retina capturing only 2D images. So the question related to depth perception they have given. Okay, 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional. Now you can see in sixth, if you choose the sixth section. So we know that in optional we have to choose sections. Okay, so in this section if you choose, then the problem is that here you have to make diagrams, because you can justify this question only if you make good diagrams. So that's a problematic you can see over here. Again, this section is linked with research method. Okay, how would you justify the use of factor analysis? So this is a slightly problematic section you can see over here, the sixth section. Now seventh section, again you will find a direct question related to motivation. A complex process cannot be explained by a single approach. So different theories explain the concept of motivation. Like for example, drive theory, arousal theory. Okay, so these are the theories, intrinsic theory, self-determination theory. Okay, so this is again you can say a direct question. Inductive and deductive reasoning and stumbling blocks. Again they have given a new word, stumbling blocks. A student might get confused while attempting the paper, but if they focus upon the word block, then they are just asking you about that what are the problems we face when we solve any kind of problem. Okay, in reasoning. So again different kind of biases. Okay, functional fixedness you can mention, mental set you can mention. Okay, reward and punishment, again learning chapter is also dominated in this field in the paper 1 this time. Correct? Then if we talk about the 8th section, the last one, why do humans being form attitude and prejudices? Again, you can see this question is linked with paper 2. Example of availability heuristics, this can be attempted very easily, not any problem. Again, some major methods in memory retention. So this is again a simple question from the chapter of memory. So if you see the paper 1, then the first thing you will find that they have asked question from all the chapters. They have not left any chapter. So the point is that you have to prepare all the chapters. But definitely there are some questions like from where they have asked many questions, but we have to prepare all the chapters. If you just go the analyze that, if you just see the topic coverage area, then you will find this is also, we will provide the PDF in our group also. Introduction 1A by behaviorist, this is from this particular topic. So with the help of this PDF, you can say that they have covered all the topics. Okay, they have covered all the topics. Introduction, research method, development also they have covered, sensation, learning, memory, thinking, motivation, personality, attitude. Okay, so all the topics you can see here they have covered. Now see, again there are some direct questions, direct repeat you can see. I will provide detailed PDF of this also. For example, quasi-experimental design question. Now the same kind of question they have already asked in 2015 and 2019. What is factor analysis? Again you can see the same kind of question they have already been asked. If we talk about 3-dimensional and that 2-dimensional question from sensation, same kind of question already. Deductive, inductive reasoning is also repeated. So you can see some questions they have been asked directly, and some of the questions they have reframed this time. Okay, for example, behavioristic avoided thought and knowledge. So this is behaviorism versus psychoanalysis loophole. If you see that there was a question in PYQ that the edifice of behaviorism is built upon the related to logical approach. Okay, so behaviorism is built upon the loopholes of psychoanalysis. Such kind of questions they have already been asked. So somewhat related to that question you can see over there. Youth well-being, they have asked happiness and well-being before. Now they have connected youth well-being with this particular thing. Attribution questions are also there, but this time they have asked Wiener model. Previously attribution augmentation was there, self-serving bias there. So again a reframing was done over here also. Definitely all the questions will not be the same. Okay, personality and genes, again genes determine personality, are we born with personality? So again reframing is there. So we just the point is, if we just focus upon the previous year questions, we just make a good analysis of those questions, then our work will become very easier. Okay, so in this way you can see some direct questions and some reframed questions you can see over here in this paper. Okay, like attitude and prejudices. Again you can see children learn stereotype prejudices in India. So this is the analysis of paper 1. Now if you can see over here in this paper, the heavily dominant area from maximum questions were asked is the research method and method of psychology. So we cannot leave this particular topic and method of psychology. Okay, you can see around 50 marks questions you can see over here if you analyze this particular paper. And then after research method, the second dominant area is the chapter of personality. From personality also you can find many questions. And then after this, the chapter of learning. And if we finally conclude that how should we go towards our preparation for the next year, so the final conclusion is that connectivity is very important. We need to understand the connectivity of topics in paper 1 in paper 2 and the topics of paper 2 in paper 1. That is very important. How can we connect learning with education? How can we connect attitude with gender psychology, motivation with work psychology? This is very important. Now just moving forward towards paper 2 also. Okay, so the PDF you might feel that it is not a good PDF, but we will upload a good copy of this PDF also. But just to have a view about this particular paper, you can see over here also all the chapters they have covered. What are different methods of estimating internal consistency? A question has been asked from measurement of individual differences. Okay, first chapter of paper 2. Okay, so MID, we talk about internal validity, we talk about different kind of methods with the help of which we can make any kind of test, standard test. Okay, validity के बारे में, इन सब के बारे में पढ़ते हैं. Evaluate cognitive behavioral model of depression. Again you can see a lot of questions this time in paper 2 is from therapeutical approaches. CBT they have asked again. We will see some more question. Experience spontaneous remission. A new bouncer is there. So last year you will see there was a question revolving door phenomena. So that was a question new to everyone. In the same way, I told you that before your paper also that there was some question, there will be some questions in this paper also which will be a bouncer, which will be new to everyone. So in this way, they have asked one question and they have given one word, spontaneous remission effect in the treatment of patient with mental illness. Okay, so this is, you can say, a new question. Okay, we will come with a detailed analysis of each and every question also. Managerial effectiveness, again you can see a repeated question. Evaluate a conditioning model of psychopathic personality disorder. Again, I told you therapy is a dominant area in paper 2. Many questions have been asked from therapy, well-being and rehab, this section, okay, this cluster. Factors that determine the efficacy of psychological test, again a question from MID. What are the parameters which make any test a good psychological test? Okay, again see how behavioral therapy encourage a certain coping, again a question from the therapy you can see. Effective strategies which can be incorporated in designing guidance program for adolescent preparing for competitive examination. Okay, so education psychology question is there, counseling and guidance. Okay, you can see a new fresh question also over here. What are the personality qualities to be focused on community members as leaders for social change? Okay, and then you can see, can the applicability of concept of non-crystallization in an organization affect transformation leadership in that organization? Again, a new question you can see over here. This also related to, you can see, a social psychology or community psychology. Okay, so in paper 2 also they have given some new questions. So this year you can see, if you realize the PYQ, then you will find that maximum questions, they are still repeated. Okay, so in psychology paper there is no innovation previously, but this time you can find a lot of questions with a new innovative, with a new good reframed words. Okay, good words are there, terminology is different. Okay, in the same way you can see like primary prevention, again a question, direct question from rehab chapters. Community based model for organizing services for rehabilitation of mentally challenged people. So lot of questions you can find from this chapter. If you just analyze this paper, you can find a lot of questions from the chapter of therapy and this particular chapter. What form of psychological treatment is suitable for dealing with unresolved inner conflict? Okay, if you just see the section B also, culture consequences of being disadvantaged and how can this be addressed? Okay, a question from disadvantage section. You can see distance learning through IT, it's a simple question, you can solve it easily. You can see interaction between members of diverse group can affect the rating of in-group versus out-group member. Okay, so again a question which we can easily do if we understand the concept of social psychology. Okay, critically evaluate the issues of gender discrimination in Indian context. Okay, so a question from gender psychology. What are the issues related to gender discrimination, how it can be solved? We have covered in detail about this particular topic in our class also. Okay, then you can find some questions related to consumer awareness. Consumer psychology is there. Psychological measure to be used for social integration. So in this way you can find that they have covered all the topics. In paper 1 also they have not left any other topic, and here also you can see they have covered all the topics of this paper also. So we focus upon the paper 2 analysis. We just see that from which area they have been asked maximum questions. Then you can see over here also that high yielding areas are therapeutical approaches. Okay, so this is the area therapeutical approaches where you will find maximum questions in paper 2. Okay, so this area dominant in paper 2. Cognitive behavioral therapy, spontaneous remission, conditioning model, behavioral therapy, psychological treatment is there. In the same way, second area is community psychology. Community psychology is always important. Now what was happening in previous year questions, you will find maximum questions from work psychology. But this time they have changed. Okay, community psychology and therapeutical approaches and mental disorder is dominant. And in our course also, therapeutical approaches, mental disorder and rehab, this we will study in sync. So all the chapters will you complete in sync. Okay, again work and organizational behavior, you can see 4 questions from there also. Okay, applied psychology, environment, IT, mass media, 4 questions are there. Disadvantage, only 2 questions, although definitely it's a small chapter. And from gender issues, terrorism, military psychology, again you can find 3 questions. And here these are the questions you will find which was not seen in previous year questions very often. These are the questions you can find. For example, spontaneous remission in mental illness, managerial effectiveness, non-crystallization, again I told you, it's a new question. Top-down and bottom-up approach in social change. Okay, so this is top-down, bottom-up approach we talk about in the chapter of perception, processing. But they have asked in the social change. Social realities created by social media and psychological intervention. So these 5 questions you will find, you will generally in psychology paper, we do not find so much of new questions. But this time, they have given some questions which are completely out of the box, which are new to all the students. Okay, so I hope all the students have attempted this paper very carefully. Definitely there are some bouncers in paper 1 also, in paper 2 also. In paper 1, a lot of connectivity is there. We will soon come out with the detailed discussions of all the topics. This is just the first impression of all the questions of the paper 1 and paper 2. So if we just conclude the discussion, then what is required if you are appearing for next year? The first important thing is connectivity. The second important thing is that you cannot ignore research method and method of psychology chapter. This is very important. A lot of students think about that this chapter, we will leave this chapter, it is not so much important, but it is important. Okay, we cannot leave because it is dominating in paper 1. Okay, so connectivity and research method. Connectivity we have to understand. It will help in paper 1 also, it will help in paper 2 also, and we have to understand the application part very carefully. Because if you can see the bouncer questions, like the questions which we just discussed, now they were new to everyone. So they have interpreted those questions instantly and write about them. So that is the art we have to develop in our answer writing approach. I hope this makes a sense, and you have to you understand that what is the pattern this time. We will soon come out with the detailed discussions of paper 1 and paper 2, all the questions and how they were covered in our classes and how you can benefit from them. Thank you very much.
StudyIQ IAS, आपका सिलेक्शन हमारा मिशन।